for a lot of these videos, I go in thinking, oh, this wasn't a very good game. And then with a little bit of prying into the game's systems, I find something interesting in it. Dig Dug 2 has the opposite problem. I went in thinking, I remember Dig Dug 2, it's a nice little game. And I left thinking, what did I ever see in this? Dig Dug 2 takes the action to the surface. Your goal on each stage is still to eliminate all of the monsters, and you can still pump them up until they explode. But now you can also drop pieces of the island into the ocean. And if you're going for score, that's what you want to do. Popping a monster is worth 200 or 400 points. Monsters dropped into the water start at 1,000, and it goes up quickly as you drop more monsters into the drink. You can only break the island apart at these circles. Stand on them, press A, and press a direction to create a crack. If you complete a crack across the entire island, then the smaller portion falls into the sea. And that's really the best thing about Dig Dug 2. Herding together the entire map worth of monsters, and then cutting them all off to drop them, it feels very satisfying to do that. The cracks don't only help you with breaking apart the island, monsters can't walk over them. They have to go ghostly and move more slowly to get across. So the cracks can be used to bottle up the monsters as well. If you drop a piece of the island in that doesn't have a monster on it, a fish will jump out of the water and you can shoot your pump at it for a few extra points. And while you're corralling monsters, sometimes a vegetable will appear, and again, those are bonus points. Dig Dug 2 has 50 stages in all, and about the first 10 are pretty simple, but after that it starts ramping up the crazy difficulty. It starts becoming harder to find ways to break the islands, and there's a lot more monsters that start scattered all over the place. Sometimes it's just not possible to drop more than a couple monsters into the ocean, and you'll have to pump up the rest. And the result of all that is that the game becomes pretty difficult as soon as you're a little ways into it. You can continue by holding down right and pressing start. That'll bring up a menu where you can choose what level to begin at, up to whatever level you reached. There's also a code for infinite lives if you wanted to brute force your way through the game. Start on level 15, then kill one puka to get your score to be 200. Then kill off the remaining lives so that you don't earn any more points. And on the game over screen, hold down B on controller 2, A on controller 1, and press start. After that, on stages your life counter will read Heranai, or unable to go down. Monsters that you kill remain dead even if you die. So with infinite lives you could just sit there, pump up one, die, and repeat. I've got a few problems with Dig Dug 2. The biggest is that the monsters are way too aggressive. What usually happens once there's more than 4 or 5 monsters on a stage is that every monster in the game makes a beeline to you as soon as you start. They wind up overlapping too, which prevents you from pumping one up to slow them down. They move fast and stick on you. That's helpful if you have a big chunk of land ready to go. But what happens on the higher levels is you just have a swarm of monsters on you constantly. Also, that key mechanic of drilling out the island isn't used very effectively. Its use on stages feels very haphazard. And on those later stages, you don't have time to think about how you're going to break off chunks of land. Though it is kind of funny when you accidentally kill yourself with it. When the islands get narrow like this, you suddenly lose the ability to move left and right on them. It's a fun surprise when you realize you can't dodge around a monster that's coming. Dig Dug 2 started out as an arcade game, and the Famicom game is a solid conversion of that. But here's the thing, everyone remembers Dig Dug. Who remembers Dig Dug 2? It's not the worst game ever, but it's one that I don't see myself going back to. Dig Dug 2 winds up being a disappointment. It should have been so much more.